Are you worried your dirty furnace is going to kill your real estate deal?
How about those dust bunnies under your bed? Are they checking that out during an inspection? And who do you call? The Ghostbusters?
A person with a ladder in a truck?
We're here to tell you everything you need to know about inspections. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Joe, and we're realtors here at Springs Homes.
And we want to help you be prepared for your home inspection. So let's get started. Number one, we recommend that you don't waive the inspection. The inspection is important for both buyer and seller.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the inspection is the buyer's time to actually be in the house and check it out from roof to basement. Find out about the systems, any structural problems, et cetera, et cetera. In our hot market here in Colorado Springs right now, we're seeing buyers waive the inspection, and that's crazy. At least find out what you're buying.
Absolutely. And then as a seller, don't fear the inspection. This is a very important process for you too, because your house gets put on the MLS and it gets marketed online. But when a buyer finally puts a contract on your house and they come in and do an inspection, they're doing such a full job of looking at everything, like Joe said, that it helps make sure that your house was represented correctly and that there's no fear of a misrepresentation of your property. So again, it's a very important process for both buyer and seller.
Number two is to do your homework or research the home inspector before you hire one. By the time you get to the inspection, you will have spent quite a bit of money on this process, but the inspection is not a time to skimp and save, right? So ask friends. Your realtor will certainly have a recommendation for an inspector they like to use, but make sure the inspector is qualified.
Absolutely, and that brings us to number three. You want an inspector that's certified. Not all inspectors have certification. So be sure to find out your inspector's credentials. Find out who they're certified through. There are a few different certification entities out there. We'll mention one here, and that's ASHI, the American Society of Home Inspectors.
Number four, if you're a buyer, make sure you attend the inspection. One of the biggest problems we have during the negotiation process and even after closing is a buyer not being at the inspection and not understanding the context of some of the issues the inspector might have found.
Yeah, and then and beyond that, just knowing like where your water turnoff valve is and other things about the home are really important to familiarize yourself before you buy this really large purchase. And then for the seller, it's important to not be at the home. You want to give the inspector and the buyer room in the house to do their thing, to look under the hood, as Joe said earlier. And I think you would think about it like a showing, right? Sellers should leave the house just like a showing. So number five, you can't pass or fail an inspection. The purpose of an inspection is to account for the condition of the home at the time of the inspection and to get a report. You get a full report on everything that was found during that time. If something later on in the week after the inspection happened occurs, well, that's a whole nother issue that a seller has to deal with.
Right, and I think it's important to jump back to earlier when Maggie talked about certifying entities for inspectors. Each entity is going to have their list, or they call it standards of practice. And these are the things that they're going to inspect, the things they're going to take a look at. So if you can find out what the certifying entity is for the inspector before the inspection, you can actually go to their website, download it, and you'll have a great idea of what they're going to be looking at.
Yeah, all the things that they check out.
Just right there.
Right there.
On the list.
On the list.
That you download from the web.
From the website. From the onlines. This brings us to number 6. Sellers should prepare for the inspection. So really, before you even go on the market, you should do some of these things. But definitely before the inspection, you want to take a look at maybe that list on the ASHI website or one of the other certification websites and see what our inspector is going to be checking. And go through your house and make sure that there's nothing in disrepair, that attics are accessible, furnaces are accessible.
Right. The lists are basically the same.
Yeah.
And it's common sense. Just look at them and sort of make sure that you're not going to have any major roadblocks during the actual inspection.
Yeah.
Item number 7 is read the inspection and ask questions if you have it. The inspector is going to produce a very detailed report, usually with pictures of any items they found that were problematic on the inspection. So you're going to want to familiarize yourself with those items before you make any kind of requests to the home seller.
Yeah, and again, ask those questions. If you have any questions or you don't understand something, make sure to call your inspector and follow up. Find out if you don't know a term, find out what he means, what they put on the report. Just ask questions. Don't be shy. It's really important for you to understand also the spectrum of how severe or insignificant something is.
Right.
And especially if you weren't there, read through the report. Number 8 is you can get additional inspections that you either want or need. So additional inspections that you may want right off the bat, but it might include radon, a sewer scope if it's an older home with a treed lot. But then the general inspection may indicate a need for other inspections like...
One we see a lot is structural, right? Like an inspector may be doing the inspection and see that there's some kind of abnormality on the foundation or structure, and they're not going to call that and kill the deal. What they're going to do is they're going to say, I think you need further evaluation by a licensed professional for your foundation, right? And at that point, a structural engineer can come in and take a look and make an assessment. So I always like to think of the inspector as sort of like a general practice doctor who sees something and says, I think we need to send you to a specialist.
Yeah, there might be mold here, so they send you to a mold specialist.
Number 9, you've got the inspection report, you've read it, you understand it. Now what do? Right? So you basically have 3 choices. Choice 1 is do nothing. The inspection came in great, it's clean, you're happy with the house, do nothing.
Number 2, you can negotiate on the repairs with the seller, or you can negotiate on the sales price that you originally offered and agreed to with the seller, depending on what's going on with the report. We can get into that in a second.
And then, of course, number 3 is it was an absolute disaster. You want nothing to do with the property, walk away.
Bad investment.
Bad investment. It's okay to walk away.
Yeah. So let's circle back to that number 2 option, negotiating the repairs or the sales price of the home. So what does that look like on the buyer side?
For buyers, I think it depends on the condition of the market. What price are you under contract on the home for versus what does the market say it should have sold for, right? If it's a screaming deal, you might want to go easy on the inspection. If you feel like you went above and beyond, then maybe you have to really be hardcore on the inspection. But I think it's a condition of the market, and I think it's based on the market as well as health and safety. I mean, what you're willing to live with.
Yeah, and major systems in the home, right? So like, what are those major systems? Electrical, plumbing, engineering. If there's a structural issue, things like that are major systems that you want to ask for. Okay. And then for the seller, one of the tools that you have is you can make those repairs that are being asked of by the buyer, but you also can negotiate on the sales price of the home or giving the buyer a credit towards closing costs in order to say, we thank you for this request and this is our response to how we want to handle that. As a seller, you definitely want to respond and figure out a deal with that buyer and what they're asking for, because otherwise you could lose the deal and then you go back on the market. So think about that.
Number 10, save the report. A very important document, especially for the items that don't get addressed in the negotiations, right? Those are the items that are going to become your to-do list as you live in the house.
Yeah, projects, ongoing things that you can do to improve the home. Or, sometimes there's things that are pointed out in the report that are just as simple as unprofessional work that was done, like bad grouting in a shower stall or...
Another thing that happens is when you go to sell the house, sometimes you'll circle back and you get an item that was addressed in the inspection. So it's good to actually have that report and say, here it was, here's the receipt,
Yeah, so hang on to that report.
That's it. Those are the 10, and we hope they've helped, right? We hope you have an idea of when it comes time for inspection, what to expect, and how to win at the inspection, right?
Yeah, and how to work through the process. It's definitely a process. And if you want more information, please check out our website. We have tons of resources, blogs on just general inspection, but also even more specifics like radon and things like that. And you can always call our office. Any one of us are always happy to talk to you about the inspection process.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah,
our YouTube
subscribe.
channel. Our YouTube channel, right?
Our YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll
subscribe.
Are
we doing this right now? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget.
Yeah, do it. Number 8 is that you may have more. Number 8 is that you. Oh my God. Number 8 is that you may want or need additional. Number 8. This brings us to number 8. You may need number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8 is you can get additional inspection.
Number 9.
What is it?